Hello everyone. In this lesson, we're going to turn our VPS into an environment that can actually support Laravel. In other words, we're going to install things like PHP, MySQL, Composer, so on and so forth. Let's jump right into the action. Okay, so I've SSH'd into my VPS, and I'm just going to install the dependencies. You can run this with me on your VPS. Let's say apt install php-cli. We also want unzip. We want PHP 8.1-fpm. We also want PHP-MySQL. We want PHP-MB string. We want PHP-XML. We want PHP-BC math. We want PHP-curl. And finally, we want PHP 8.1-GD. Go ahead and press enter. When it asks you yes or no, type Y for yes and press enter. Here you can see I'm getting a Linux kernel upgrade message. That's okay. We can reboot a bit later on, but I'm just going to go ahead and press enter. I'm going to leave all of the default options and just press enter for OK. The installation process should continue. Cool. Let me run a clear just so we're back up at the top of the screen. And now that we've installed PHP, let's install Composer. So we would just say curl and then dash lowercase s, uppercase s. And then it's https://git composer.org/installer. We want to output that, so dash lowercase o to /tmp/composer-setup.php. Go ahead and press enter. That's a very quick operation. Now we're just going to say PHP. We're just going to execute the file. So /tmp/composer-setup.php. We want to give it a couple of options. So install-dir for directory equals /usr/local/bin. And then finally, we're going to say, space -- file name equals composer. Go ahead and press enter. And this shouldn't take too long. You can see mine's already done. Now you can confirm that it's installed by just running composer -- version. Now, ideally, you would not use Composer as your root or super user. You would create a separate Linux account that only has permissions in certain directories just to limit the security risk implications. But this is not a full course on DevOps and security. I am not an expert in that arena. I encourage you to perform your own research on how to have maximum security, but just for this quick example, I'm actually just going to go ahead and say yes. Cool, but anyways, you can see that I've successfully installed Composer. At this point, let's go ahead and install MySQL. So we would just say apt install mysql-server. Go ahead and press enter. It's going to ask you yes or no. Just type Y for yes, hit enter. Again, I'm seeing a pending kernel upgrade, but I'm just going to push enter again. Cool. Let's see. MySQL should only take another 5 or 10. You can see there it goes. It's already finished. Let's run a clear so we're back up at the top of the screen. Now I'm going to add a password to my MySQL root user. So I'm going to run the MySQL program, and then I'm going to say alter the user quotes root quotes at quotes localhost quotes identified with MySQL_native_password by, and now quotes. I'm just going to give it a password of QWERTY because I don't want you to see my actual real password values. But you would obviously enter a super long and secure and complicated password here. Let's end that line with a semicolon and press enter. Okay, now I'm going to type exit. Cool, now I'm going to run the MySQL_secure installation script. So you can just go ahead and press enter. It's going to ask you a bunch of default questions. It wants you to enter your password. So just type that in. Do you want to validate your password? I'm going to say no. Change the password for root, I'm going to say no. Remove anonymous users, I'm going to say yes. Disallow root login, I'm going to say yes. Remove test database and access to it, I'm going to say yes. Reload privilege tables, I'm going to say yes. Cool. At this point, let's create a database for our Laravel application, right? A MySQL server can have countless databases, but we need to create at least one. So I would launch the MySQL program with a user option of root and then also a option of P. So it prompts me for my password. So then I would just type in my password. Okay, now I'm going to create a database. So create database. Let's name it our Laravel app, semicolon. Cool. Now let's create a user that only has access to that one database. So I would say create user quotes our app user quotes at quotes %sign quotes identified with MySQL, all lowercase, MySQL native password by, and then you would definitely want this to be a long, complicated, secure password, but I'm just going to say quotes, QWERTY, because I'm going to delete this Linode VPS as soon as I finish filming these videos. But you would enter your real complicated password here, and then semicolon, and then I'm going to say grant all permissions on all tables in that database. So all on our Laravel app dot asterisk. So every table, every permission to that user we just created. So quotes our app user quotes at quotes %sign. Semicolon to end that. And now we can exit the MySQL program. Cool. So now we have PHP and all of its dependencies. We have Composer, we have MySQL, we've already installed Nginx. So we have the baseline environment that Laravel needs. In our very next lesson, we're going to learn how to easily transfer, so if we go into VS Code, how to transfer our actual source code files of Laravel up onto our VPS. Because in our Docker practice video, we sort of cheated, right? We just used the Docker's copy command, but in a real world scenario where you're SSH'd into a VPS somewhere, you can't just magically use Docker to copy files, right? So what I'm going to show you is how to turn our VPS into a Git server so that we could literally just go into our local host computer in VS Code, and it would be as simple as just using Git to push, and we'll give it a name. We could call it like production or something like that. But I'll show you how you can simply push your files to your own VPS just like you would push your files to GitHub. It's going to be a great automated, simple workflow. I'm so excited to run that by you. Anyways, let's keep our momentum rolling, and I will see you in the next lesson.